Hey guys, Aza here again with another video, and today I'm going to make a video on Vulnus because from what I've seen it's actually been gaining popularity among Soundspace players and even some non-Soundspace players as well, from the little activity I've been doing in their Discord, which is it's definitely promising for what's to come for both games. Other than that, I'd just like to promote the games in any way that I can, since I'm very passionate about how well they could both do. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. Vulnus is a standalone version of the Roblox game Soundspace, which is actively being developed by two community members, Kermit and Hawkeye. Both are extremely talented programmers, and I think you should definitely, give them some sort of thanking for making Vulnus and for what they're doing as a whole for the community. The whole premise behind the game copies Soundspace, so if you already know the game, just skip to the third part of the video and I'll probably timestamp it somewhere, but that is what it is. Both games are practically rhythm games, where the aim is to move your cursor from one note to the next. Both of the games offer a 3x3 grid, offering for 9 unique note placements. There is also a pattern type, known as Quantum, in both communities, where the grid is subdivided into non-integer placements, meaning you can place notes in between the grid or outside of it, known as off-grid. For example, the note position 2.85 would be at the very top right corner, and the maximum it can go outside of the grid as well. Many people often say the game resembles Osu Relax, which is fair to see, but if you know anything about the original game, Soundspace, it was actually inspired by Beat Saber. This is easy to know if you've been active in the community for a decent amount of time, or if you played the game when it had its original name on Roblox, which was Block Saver. Unfortunately, due to a DMCA on the game, it was rebranded, but the core mechanics stayed the same. The last thing to talk about is that Vulnus is currently in beta, so please be aware that glitches are still bound to happen, and the game will be refined much more, and it will be much more polished when the game is actually fully released. Like I said previously, Vulnus is standalone Soundspace, so it's no surprise that both of the game's gameplays feel extremely similar. People do talk about how the game doesn't feel exactly like Soundspace, but that might be due to the game being so early in its development. For me though, the gameplay feels perfectly normal, and I play just as well as I do on Soundspace as I do on Vulnus. I should add though that the hit rate might feel a little off because of the way that the game runs the code. I spoke to the developer, Hawkeye, and he said that notes get destroyed after something like 128 frames, which may cause people to think that it feels inaccurate or doesn't feel the same as Soundspace. Despite Vulnus being in beta, it actually offers many features even Soundspace doesn't. The first major and most needed change for the main game itself, in my opinion, is the ability to choose what speeds you would like to play a map on. Countless times on Soundspace has the community uploaded sped up / sped down songs, since the feature was never a thing. On Vulnus though, this is eliminated, and you have a slider to adjust the speed, or you can manually type in a value that you'd like to play. A very useful feature indeed, especially for the challenge players in the community. Another new feature that's been added, in both games actually, Soundspace and Vulnus, is song skip, which means for, I think, sections of a map which are 4 seconds or over, which have no notes in them, you're able to just skip the song and you can go just a tiny bit before the next place notes in the map. It's for sure useful for either practicing a map, or maybe you're just lazy and don't want to sit through, boring sections of the map that you're playing either. A feature now which can only be found in Vulnus is the new 360 notes option, and if you've tried it, you'll know how much different it is than, regular Soundspace, or what you're even used to in Vulnus. But I think it's very good, it's unique, and it shows what the game can offer, really. Which brings me on to the next feature it will include at some point down the line, a mod assistant. Currently the mod assistant is to be programmed by Luna, PosmXYZ, or just Posm, as I like to call him. I even had the opportunity to play a very early Ghost mod he created, which, if anyone knows me, they know how swimmingly that would go, because I'm so good at Ghost. In all seriousness though, the fact that mods will become a thing is extremely exciting, since there's actually countless ideas for what the community could create. This is a community thing, it's not going to be, just the developers coding this, it's a community project, you can, make your own mods for other people to play. However, I will say though, obviously if you post a malicious file to their Discord, Hawkeye, the developer, he's already said you'll get banned from the Discord and the game. So, you know, you should be wary on that part, but, you know, it'll get spotted at some point, so you shouldn't really be too worried if you do download a mod from there. After everything that I've already went through, the rest are just settings which you can tweak to your personal preference. In order, the settings read sensitivity, hit sound toggle, and miss sound toggle, which I would hope are all self-explanatory in what they do and what they, you know, how they will affect your game. Camera mode toggle, which will scroll between 3 different camera types: spin, parallax, and full. Spin, which you'll see on the left, parallax, which you'll see in the middle, and full, which you'll see on the right. Cursor drift toggle, which determines whether your cursor goes past the grid. It's definitely a personal preference, since, you know, I always have mine enabled, but, you know, you can have it how you want to, really. There's also cursor trail toggle, which, you know, gives your cursor a trail. Wow. Grid guides toggle, which shows the 3x3 grid that I mentioned earlier. And one of the more important ones, especially for the community, the challenge community, anyone who wants to play anything difficult, is the approach rate toggle. This number basically changes the apparent speed of your notes, meaning a higher AR will seem more space between notes than a lower AR. As of right now, there's no limit to the AR that you can choose, and you can even choose a negative AR to make the games play in reverse, which, you know, you guys can have fun with that one, I guess. Lastly, I just want to talk about maps. All you need for maps is some Soundspace map data, an MP3 of the song that you're trying to import into the game, and the Vulnus converter app, which you can find in their Discord in the maps channel, and it'll be pinned at the very, very bottom. I'll add all of this stuff into the description if you want to, you know, try out the game, or maybe even implement your own maps into the game as well. It really shouldn't take too long to put a map into the game. I mean, for me, it takes around like 2 minutes. You know, it could take more depending if you're, you know, cutting an audio or, you know, rearranging some, like, you know, where the notes are in a map. But it really shouldn't take too long, which is, you know, it's needed. It's nice. I want to take some time at the end of the video to just say thank you if you've watched the entirety of it. Since Vulnus was getting bigger, and also Soundspace, you know, people are getting agitated that the update isn't out. I wanted to make a somewhat decent quality video for you guys because, you know, I'm passionate about both games. You know, my history with them has been, it's been nice to say the least. You know, there's been ups, there's been downs, but overall it's been a very nice time. But you know what? Thank you guys for watching. You know, I don't know if I'll do more of these quote-unquote higher quality videos, because you know what, I am lazy. I will say that right now, I am very lazy, but if I do, I appreciate you guys watching them. Until next time.